Why are you staring at me? But you weren't. You were just looking around, not thinking about him, not thinking about anything. But now he's in front of you, shoulders squared, jaw tight, waiting for your answer, and you feel it immediately. That tightness in your chest, the calculation, the quick scan. Can I take him? Should I explain? Should I just walk away? And guess what? You choose to explain. I wasn't staring, man. Just looking around. He holds your eyes for another second, then turns and walks off. And you're left standing there feeling exactly what you always feel, smaller than you want to be. If you've ever wondered why knowing doesn't change behavior when it comes to moments like this is it. You're not confused. You already know this about yourself. You know where it comes from. You've analyzed it. You understand the pattern. The problem isn't awareness. The problem is that understanding why you feel threatened started to feel like not feeling threatened. And here's the part that stings. You're fully aware of this too. You're self-aware, but stuck in the same response every time. Why knowing hasn't helped. You know why that moment happened. You can explain it perfectly. Some men don't feel manly enough, so they treat eye contact like a threat. They see challenge where there isn't one. They're compensating for something, an understanding that makes you feel above it. You weren't the one with the problem. You were just existing. He was the insecure one. But here's what's actually happening. Analyzing him became your way of not looking at yourself. Because the truth is, you felt small in that moment. Not because of what he did, because of how you responded. You explained. You softened. You made yourself smaller to avoid the confrontation. It's like standing in front of someone who's testing you, understanding exactly why they're testing you, writing mental notes about their insecurity and yours, and then backing down anyway. The analysis was accurate. The understanding was real, but you still made yourself small. Here's what happened. Thinking about why men feel threatened started to feel like you weren't one of them. You engaged your brain. You stayed calm. You were the mature one. So it registered as strength. But in the real world, you still back down. This is the self-awareness loop. Understanding replaces action so smoothly you don't even notice. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You've been doing this since you were young. You're shorter than you want to be, or your voice isn't as deep, or you're not built like the guys who walk into a room and everyone notices. You measured yourself against other men when you were 12. Tall guys, big guys, guys with deep voices and broad shoulders. And you came up short, not always in reality, but in your head where it matters more. So you learned to be smart instead, aware instead, the guy who understands masculinity instead of the guy who just is. But let me ask you something. When's the last time understanding masculine insecurity actually made you feel less of it? Exactly. Now here's where it gets specific. Some choose compensation through understanding. Some guys compensate by picking fights. They see threat everywhere. They puff up. They get aggressive over nothing. They prove they're men by making everything a test. Some guys compensate by being players, by sleeping around, by collecting evidence that they're desirable. You compensate by understanding all of this. You see the pattern. You know why that guy at the bar is being loud. You understand why your friend always has to one-up everyone's story. You recognize the insecurity behind the performance. And seeing it makes you feel different. Like you're past all that. Like you've done the work they haven't. But here's what's really happening. Analysis became your version of puffing up your chest. You're not picking fights. You're not being aggressive. But you're doing the same thing. Try to feel bigger by making others smaller in your mind. This is one of the main reasons why smart people repeat mistakes. They replace one compensation with another and call it growth. Intelligent people repeat mistakes like this because understanding feels like transcendence, like you're above the game instead of just playing it differently. The moment still made you feel small. You just have better explanations for why. Introspection without action is still avoidance. It just looks more respectable. But stay with me because this runs deeper. The shift. Next time you catch yourself analyzing someone else's insecurity, stop. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding by thinking about them? Then do the thing you're avoiding. Speak up. Hold eye contact. Stay in the moment instead of retreating into your head. This is how you stop overthinking, start doing in real interactions. Now let's talk about what you're actually waiting for. That is, waiting to feel like a real man. You tell yourself you'll show up differently when you've worked on yourself more, when you're stronger, more confident. When you've built something, when you feel like the kind of man who doesn't have to think about this stuff. So you prepare, you lift, you read, you work on your career, you're building the foundation. And all of that feels like progress, like you're becoming someone. But here's the mistake. You think being a real man is a destination you arrive at. Like one day you'll have the body, the voice, the presence, and then you'll stop feeling small. But that's backwards. This is why insight doesn't lead to change for most men. There are guys with everything you think you need, tall, deep voice, built, successful, who still feel exactly what you feel, who still back down, who still make themselves small. Because real manhood isn't about having the right parts. It's about what you do when you're scared. A real man fights for his dreams instead of explaining why he hasn't started yet. A real man stands up when he falls instead of analyzing why he fell. A real man stops running from his reality by hiding in his head, whether that's through weed, porn, or endless self-reflection. You've been treating strength like something you build in private and then reveal. But strength is built in moments like the one on the sidewalk. When you choose not to make yourself small, the action comes first. The feeling of being a man follows. This is self-understanding versus real change. Knowing what a real man is versus becoming one through uncomfortable action. And here's what happens when you keep waiting. The shift. Pick one situation where you make yourself small. This week, stay big. Don't puff up. Don't get aggressive. Just don't shrink. Hold your ground physically. Keep your shoulders back. Maintain eye contact. Do it once while feeling completely uncertain. If you're recognizing yourself in this, subscribe. I break down different patterns every week about breaking behavior loops and why smart people stall. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Let's keep going. Explaining your masculinity instead of living it. Someone notices you back down, or that you left a situation, or that you went quiet when things got tense. They ask about it. Maybe your girlfriend, maybe a friend, maybe just in passing, and you have an answer. You explain your philosophy of masculinity. You talk about toxic masculinity versus healthy masculinity. You show them you've thought deeply about what it means to be a man. You explain that you're not threatened by other men because you're secure in yourself, that you don't need to prove anything. That real strength is choosing not to engage. And after you explain it, you feel validated, like you've demonstrated maturity, like your restraint was conscious choice, not fear. But here's what just happened. Explaining became the substitute for being. You gave such a thoughtful answer about masculinity that it felt like you embody it. The conversation ended. They understood your depth, and you didn't have to actually show up differently. This is the self-sabotage loop explained in real time, using intelligence to justify staying small. Why smart people stall? They can articulate what strength looks like so well that articulating it feels like having it. But every time you explain why you don't need to prove yourself, you're reinforcing the pattern. You're practicing the story instead of becoming the person. This is self-reflection versus action, and most men never make the jump. Real men aren't the ones who can explain manhood. They're the ones who fight for something that matters, who stand up when it's uncomfortable, who don't run from reality by staying in their heads. And here's the thing most people miss. The shift. Next time someone asks why you backed down or went quiet, say, "Yeah, I made myself small. I didn't like it." No philosophy, no framework, no essay about toxic masculinity. Just honesty. Then show up bigger next time. Just close the gap once. This is how you start breaking behavior loops instead of narrating them. But wait, there's an even sneakier version. Watching yourself stay small. You don't ignore what you're doing. You see it happening. In real time, someone challenges you. You feel the tightness. You notice the urge to explain, to soften, to make yourself smaller. You're fully aware it's happening. You might even narrate it internally. Here I go again, making myself small. And that awareness feels like something, like consciousness, like you're present with your patterns. But you still do it. This is the most frustrating version because you're right there, watching yourself repeat the mistake. It's the high IQ overthinking problem, being aware enough to see yourself staying small, but not interrupting it. And the awareness tricks you into thinking you're working on it. Like observing yourself is a form of strength. But observation without action isn't strength. It's just watching yourself stay scared with better commentary. Here's the truth. Awareness is not the same as courage. This is cognitive pattern awareness versus actual behavior change. And most men stay stuck watching themselves. Noticing that you're making yourself small doesn't automatically stop you from doing it. That takes a different muscle. The muscle that says, I see this happening, and I'm staying big anyway. The shift. Next time you catch yourself about to make yourself small, the exact moment you notice, do the opposite. Don't finish the shrinking. Speak with your full voice. Keep your chest open. Interrupt your own pattern mid-action. This is how you stop repeating patterns self-aware men get trapped in. And now here's how things actually change. The slow change. How things actually shift. Change doesn't happen after you finally understand masculinity completely. It doesn't happen after you hit your goal weight or build your business or figure yourself out. It happens slowly, unglamorously, through different choices repeated without fanfare. Think about how you became someone who makes himself small. You didn't decide one day to be that guy. You just backed down once when confrontation felt too risky. Then again, it became automatic. You didn't plan to retreat into analysis. You just analyzed instead of acted once, and it felt safer, so you kept doing it. You didn't become who you are by accident, and you won't change by accident either. Change happens the same way. Small, different actions, repeated without drama, until they become who you are. Not after you feel like a different kind of man. Not after you understand yourself perfectly. After you stay big enough times that your body learns it won't kill you. Most of the time, it won't feel significant. It'll feel awkward, uncomfortable, almost pointless. But that's exactly the point. The things that actually change you are the things you do when nothing feels heroic and no one's watching. This is overthinking habit patterns versus actual behavior change. And understanding the difference changes everything. This is understanding versus doing, and only one of them makes you a man. Simple actions, no drama. Here are 3 things you can do this week. Not when you're ready. This week. 1. Next time someone looks at you, hold their eyes for 2 full seconds. Not aggressive, not challenging, just present. Don't be the first to look away. 2. When someone says something that feels like a test, respond immediately. Don't calculate. Don't analyze their insecurity. Just meet the moment. What's your point? Even that is staying big. 3. Catch yourself about to make yourself small, physically. Stop mid-shrink. Pull your shoulders back. Keep your voice at full volume. Stay in your body instead of retreating to your head. That's it. No transformation. No becoming a different person. Just 3 small actions that move you from understanding manhood to living it. You already know why you make yourself small. You can trace it back to being 12 years old and feeling not tall enough, not big enough, not deep-voiced enough. You've analyzed it perfectly. The only thing left is to stop explaining it and start staying big. And if this hit differently, leave a comment. Tell me which moment you recognized. Your comment helps this reach other men stuck in awareness without change. This feels simple, which is exactly why it might actually work. If you find yourself repeating same pattern of mistake over and over again, even when you know better, click the video above to find out why and how to solve it. I will see you on the next one.